when it comes to thumb position, you've got to make sure that when you're working the thumb and you're working the MP, that you have to stabilize the MP and then work the IP as well. So you can't just work one without paying attention to other. Let me know if that makes sense. And then you can work your CMC, and your CMC is the one that it's always going to fall down because they're always trying to push into flexion. So you got to really crank that sucker out and get that thumb into extension, right? Got to get that thumb CMC into extension, wrist into extension, MP into extension, and then IP into extension, and all while maintaining that rotational position of the thumb. Because the thumb, unlike the other fingers, has a rotational component, right? In order to be able to oppose and touch the small finger, it has a little bit of active rotation. That's where your opponent's muscles are. And so you got to make sure that when you're working the thumb and you're working the CMC, that you think about your thumb position and also the thumb position as it pertains to the wrist, right? And that's how you can fix thumb stiffness. Now, when you're working on motion, right, you're working at that ligament level, right, to get each joint moving at that ligament level, to soften it, to move it. But then you have to start thinking about, like, I've got to move it from a muscular standpoint. I've got to move that muscle. I've got to move that tendon back and forth. And it's through that active movement that then you can work through the scarring. So if you have someone who's got a fracture, they have an ORIF, they have pins and plate, they have pins, and then the pins get removed. Those pins do cause scarring. Don't discount the amount of scarring that it provides, right? And then because of the trauma and then the surgery, all that causes edema. Do you know what happens with long-standing edema? Long-standing edema comes and causes scarring from the inside. So don't just look at someone's stiffness as, oh, it's their scar from what you see on the outside. When you have an injury, you have scarring on the inside that you have to pay attention to. And if you pay attention to scarring, edema, and getting that active motion, because you're paying attention to ligaments, you're paying attention to muscles, and you're paying attention to intrinsic muscles and extrinsic muscles, then all of that combined is going to be the thing that helps you to get rid of someone's stiffness.